lectures. Screen flickers tales of crime and affection. Baristas mix caffeine with tales of deception. Lawyers joke and shadows plot their redemption. Case files like popcorn scatter on the floor. Jury's out in line, folks begging for more. Quirky loopholes twist through every door. Paparazzi flash for the courtroom encore. Legal shenanigans, theater, baby, where justice lasts. Crime and humor dance, baby, a curious path. Grab your ticket, honey, let the gavel smash. In the flood of laughter, see the road splash. Scoundrels with a smile, defense on their lips.
Hello, guys. We've got a new interrogation. The old G, crazy ex-girlfriend, Stephanie Lazarus. This is going to... I am doing great, Alice G. I hope you are doing well. This is an older case, but this involves Stephanie Lazarus, who at the time of this interrogation was an LAPD detective for fine arts and like forgeries. If museum or art pieces got stolen or it looked like shenanigans were afoot, she would be called in to make sure everything was on the level. But she's not being brought in for the art thievery she thought she was brought in for. This interrogation is actually going to go back to, well, when she was just a baby cop. She may have loved a man who was actually married. And, well, in sort of serendipity doodah, the wife just happened to get unalived in an attempted robbery, according to the LAPD. But there were bite marks and DNA that didn't seem to match that whole theory. So...
Yes. And I am so happy, Mo. We finally have an interrogation and a case that has nibbling confirmed.
You're right. You know, all the teasing, all the foreplay, we finally got a biter.
It took a while, but we got there.
I know. But the DNA they got from the saliva around the bite mark was not.
Yes, let's set Ted Bundy free. Oh, wait.
Darn it. So the kind of 5-minute thing is that Stephanie Lazarus went to school with a gentleman, and they were sort of never really boyfriendy girlfriend, but they kind of friends with benefits, or a relation dateship, a situationship. I don't know what the kids call it. But, you know, Stephanie in her mind thought that this man loved her and they were going to get married. And he thought she was a rental, and nothing parties like a rental. I'm a terrible person.
I don't know. It reminds me of Days of Thunder for some reason.
Yeah. So when he decided to go marry someone else and actually get married, Stephanie had a real problem with the wife because, well, he wasn't a very good husband. He kept kind of leading Stephanie on, if you look at it kind of objectively. And there are good channels that break this down. That chapter does a really good job. We kind of do the more interrogation shenanigans kind of stuff. But he got married. He started his life with his wife, who was a head nurse at an LA hospital. And then, you know, all of a sudden, while he was out of town, the wife gets unalived and bitten and assaulted in her house. And they blame it on, you know, just a robbery. There are people that were going around the same place robbing. But the parents of the woman who was murdered were always quite suspicious of Stephanie because she was, and I mean, they might have met her and then made the bunny boiler, if you know what I'm saying. Because She would drive by their house. She would, call John all the time. She would not be ignored.
Yeah. And Friends too. I think Friends had actually also said things about her kind of, I don't think they used the word stalking, but
Yeah.
that kind of behavior.
Yeah. So it definitely was a good path to have at least looked down, but the LAPD sort of closed ranks. The parents of the woman that was slain, and her name is escaping me right now because I'm having an utter brain fart.
The,
Okay, her name was Sherry Rasmussen.
yes,
Um,
Sherry.
yes, sorry. I completely have had a brain fart day. I was helping Mr. Mo do drywall, and I'm not good at that, and yet he asks me to help.
Were you holding or screwing?
Well, I was holding. I had to pull a cord through a hole while we were trying to cantilever it and hold a light because we had to turn off the electricity. It was look, I am not a good assistant. I have
I
many
actually
talents.
know exactly what that looks like. And it's always funny. That's why I asked.
Many talents, drywalling might not be among them. So this case kind of went cold. They never the robbers that they had assigned as the murderers uh, were extradited back from Mexico, but they did not have enough evidence to charge them. So this case went cold. Now, at the point that the interrogation is starting, um, Stephanie is the art detective, and she's being brought into the police station so that she will A, be unarmed, and B, to kind of lure her in because they wanted to get her off guard. They already at this point had the DNA test of the saliva around the bite mark, so they have her dead to rights.
Yeah.
But as you will see, for a police officer, she doesn't stay cool under pressure.
Yes.
She's a whole lot of spazzo energy.
One other interesting tidbit in all of this. So, Miss Stephanie actually did go on to get married to a police officer
Oh, yes, yes, she did.
who worked across the hall from the guys working the cold case.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
there was some things that they had to do, but the I don't think they cover it, and I don't know if we should get into spoilers yet.
Yeah.
But there is some interesting things that I thought kind of came out kind of
Yes.
at the end of all of this. So maybe we'll cover that when we get there.
Yeah, that would be a great thing to do. But let's get into, I'm just going to call her Spazzy Stephanie. And there should be closed captions on.
I think it takes him a couple minutes to get in there.
Oh, yeah. And they're really talking.
You're gonna bring somebody in, right?
Yeah, well, like, explain the whole thing to you.
So they had to. This won't be look like our typical interrogation. They actually have a sort of hidden camera.
Yeah.
So this is not going to look like, your regular interrogation because they are dealing with a fellow interrogator. But as a fellow interrogator, I think I can say she didn't do well under pressure.
No, she did not do well, and she broke the number one rule.
Which is don't talk to the cops. She's like, should I get a lawyer? The answer to that is always yes, and you should not have asked that question.
Exactly.
But here we go. Let's get into this.
I don't know who people are listening,
That's true.
and if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody
Oh,
else
yeah,
is
sure, no
doing.
problem.
Okay, but we're talking about being busy and stuff. We've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and as we're doing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Do you know John Rutan?
John Bruton. John
Uh,
Rutten?
John Rutten would be the man that both women wanted to lay claim to. Now, Stephanie is here pretending like that one guy I used to sort of know. No, this heifer has like journals full of how she, the oceans will run dry. Her eyes have never cried more tears when they got married. So,
Not to mention the 10,000 pictures.
yeah. And not only that, but when they were together, not together, she would like take pictures of him while he was sleeping,
And the
or when he was just getting out of the shower, just like snap jump scare pictures.
yes.
It is amazing she passed the psychological test for the LAPD. I mean,
I mean,
who'd
it
have?
couldn't have been that hard.
Well, Kenneth Bianchi didn't
I
pass the
mean,
Hillside Strangler.
well, but this is also the same police department that produced such stars as Mark Furman. Uh,
True.
so yeah,
Mark
can't be
Furman,
that
what
good.
would the 90s have been without you?
Yes, without old fur baby.
Button?
Rutten.
Oh yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in let's see, went to UCLA in 1978. I started and um, you know, met him at school at the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Were you guys friends? Close friends?
yeah, we're very close friends.
Yeah.
I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there, some of the statements
Okay.
we reviewed.
So, Vale, you're an interrogator. You're Stephanie, and someone brings up a name of someone that lost their wife in a horrific murder that hasn't been solved in years. What do you think they're talking to you about, ma'am?
I mean, I have my suspicions. Maybe they just want to know how close we were. Like, because when she says that they were pretty good friends, that means she can tell you how big his dang is. So,
Oh,
um,
there's subtext. I see. She's subtle.
yeah. Yeah, and there's probably photographic evidence of said dong in her 10,000 pictures that she has.
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh.
Because I'm
Dude,
pretty sure she shook them all
there's
like
notes and stuff that
Polaroid. The pictures, I mean, of course, Mo.
Oh, she's got two hands.
That's multitasking right there.
Unless you get the rhythm to one wrong.
It's the rhythm of the night.
Oh no, we're getting the FOIA pictures now. It's a mission from God for Sal. We are getting this out. Oh Lord.
For sure.
Good evening, Melanie Dawson. Yeah, it is funny how much extraneous stuff that she puts out there. And you would think as a trained interrogator you would know how effective silence is. And if she is thinking tactically, she would want to draw information out of the detectives, in which silence would be a good thing. But it's not. I don't think she has the ability to be silent.
However, there's some interesting stuff actually that happens in this. I don't know if you were picking up on it, but so I'm sure everybody who's here has probably watched an interrogation or two before, and so you've probably heard things like the read technique and all this kind of stuff being brought up. So there's something interesting actually. It's not just the fact that she can't shut up or about it. She actually does some things that I find very interesting. Is she is giving too much detail, but she's giving detail about nothing, like just random
Yes.
crap. And however, in the detail that she's giving about random crap, she's naming everybody else in his life as
Oh
somebody
yeah.
else to look at. But the other thing that she's doing is she keeps saying those things that are like quote unquote triggering for the read technique. Like, in all honesty, or I just, I can't remember what the other one is that she says a bunch. You guys will notice it because
Oh
she says it
yeah,
all the time.
or yeah. Truthfully, I can't remember. It's been a
Yeah,
million years ago.
yeah. She keeps giving off literally all the quote unquote wrong signals. So it's like it's just really
She's
funny.
stellar. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like the two don't do. Defense attorneys should just have this interrogation up.
Yes. Don't do this.
Yes.
That he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean we good friends. Lived in the dorms for I lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else? Or
Yeah, we were good friends.
yeah.
He
Was there ever any
means did you
relationship or
bone?
anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean we dated.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean,
We shared
what's this all
Aquanet.
about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
Okay,
Okay. Did you know her?
not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Uh-huh. Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her.
I sent her a lovely bouquet of
You know,
dead flowers when they
Yeah.
got married in a rat.
Well, let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, what are you guys? Is this something? I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art, and how
Well,
you guys are.
Here's
The answer
mean-
is yes.
here's the situation. It's basically
And this is where she knew she had made a mistake. Also, wonderful pause.
Yeah. That look on her face never goes away either.
No, she is very confused. She never thought that this was going to come back to haunt her like her haircut currently.
Yeah. And the crazy look on her face, for real.
Yes.
we knew that this when we saw this in this chrono that maybe there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate, and we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room or people are in there getting
Oh, that's
supplies.
okay. I mean,
So we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality
Okay.
to talk about this because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things in that setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff
I
to
mean,
start.
that's fine. I mean,
So
Oh my
we
gosh,
did this
cops
just
gossip?
as a means to try and speak to you in just
Okay, I mean,
a
I
confidential
just-
place where where your business isn't out there for other people in
well, I mean,
your
it's-
division to
yeah,
know
I
about.
mean, God, that's been a million years ago. I mean, what year is it now? 2009. I mean, I graduated in 82. 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you. Roughly, how long would you say you guys dated?
Jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I started
But you
school
could
there
write
in '78. I started.
She wrote his mom like a 3-page letter when he got married about how it should have been her. But it's been a million years ago. She can't even remember the name. I mean, gosh, guys, like that happened in the 80s. Who cares?
I mean, technically, she dated up until and after the wife was killed.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh, John, you have a lot of splaining to do.
Yeah.
Started UCLA in 1978.
Mhm.
I graduated in '82. I don't even remember what year he graduated. If it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. I mean, I can't remember if he was born. Let's see, I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents. I knew his sister. His brother went to Northridge.
The combination on his luck, his blood type, collected a little bit of his DNA, still have a bit of a shrine to him in my closet. I mean, the normal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those normal things that all of us ladies do with our first love.
God, please tell me that's not true.
No.
his sister spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before.
Obviously.
Separate
Yeah, I don't.
rooms,
I,
Bible
Well,
length in
and
between.
correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me, is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
yeah, and probably after college.
And
I can't.
marriage and
Geez,
Yeah.
trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband in. I meet Scott.
Ma'am,
Let's see.
you remember when you graduated right off the top of your head? You remembered when you went to UC Davis or wherever the hell you went, but now you're like, marriage, marriage, marriage. When did I meet my husband, my best friend, but the love of my life?
can't. I'm having a difficult time with this,
February.
fellas.
It was February of a year. Yeah.
Tubba Wumba had a hit song that year.
Yeah. I had just seen REM.
And I lost my religion.
Yeah.
Teaching Dare, because I met Scott when I was teaching Dare up in Oregon, but we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92.
We still haven't gotten a number on when we got married, but now we do. Maybe Dare related. And thank you, Wolfram, for gifting 5 memberships. Those went to Wanda Stevens, Flux, Denise Sells, Obscure Destinations, Outdoors, and Lady Tammy. I mean, how do you remember when you graduated from college and when you joined the police force? But no, but then you're like, I was doing Dare somewhere.
Yeah.
I met this guy. He wasn't, he wasn't John, but what are you going to do?
Because she'll start rattling off here. Like, and again, this is stuff that all just makes her look sussy as hell. That, like,
Yeah.
she'll start rattling off, like, the years and where she worked.
Yeah, and the thing is, had she gone in and said, yeah, look, I behaved a little dumbly. I was a dumb, young woman and, was adjusting badly to the thought that someone didn't want me. So, yeah, I acted a little out of control, but I didn't do this. I mean, but now she's acting like she's having a Grandpa Joe moment. Like it was when my plane was shot down. It was over near Guinea, but I took them out before they could eat me. That's why I am in Senate. Probably coming to a presidential address near you very soon.
Oh dear.
Maybe April of 92. It was
Scott being your husband.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was teaching Dare. Let's see, what year is this? We'll be married.
She's in prison
I got married
now.
in 1996.
She has been adjudicated guilty.
Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you haven't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
Geez, I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with a few people from the dorms. We all lived on the 10th floor, and
there were pillow fights. You've seen Animal House.
About 3 or 4 people I keep in contact with. There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
Mm-hmm. And who are those people?
Oh, geez. Diana Basta. The people I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's this all about? I mean.
Well, let me ask you. What ended the relationship between you and John?
I mean,
it was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't.
You a weird relationship? That face, those Manson lamps. You a weird relationship? Don't sell yourself short, ma'am. I'm sure it was a psychotic relationship.
Mo, how many people do you remember from school? Whether that was the college, high school. How many people first and
Um,
last name can you name?
None at this current moment as I'm trying to desperately. No, wait. I can remember one, and that's only because he was my first kiss at Spin the Bottle, and I can remember his full name, but I'm not going to blast him out on the internet. And
Uh,
it wasn't really his fault that the Tabasco bottle was full and exploded.
well, okay.
Oh crap, I've gotten Stephanie Lazarus disease.
I can't, like, I legit, as I sit here right this moment, I cannot think of first and last names of anybody that I went to high school with.
I
Like, I
can't
can't
I
think of anybody.
I'm not in touch with anyone I went to high school with.
I mean, technically, like, my high school was like a class of one, so I wouldn't remember anybody from high school, but, uh,
In our
but,
defense, we didn't realize it was supposed to be an empty bottle. Oh God. Explaining that to the parents. Were you sacrificing demons? No, we were trying to play Spin the Bottle. We didn't.
I
It
mean,
was
it's
supposed to
roughly the
be
same
empty.
thing.
Well, it was all during the, West Memphis 3 stuff where they were trying to tell every parent that, if you listened to
Oh,
Marilyn Manson, you were going to, or Pokemon, or,
yeah.
name object of the week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'm slightly older than you, and I was in the 80s. Everything is a demon, uh, uh, whatever era. We're like He-Man and everything. It's all demonic and all
I
this.
will say those popple effers, those were demonic.
Popples? I don't know what that
Yeah, it
is.
was a cartoon. They like rolled themselves into little bouncy furry things that looked like the Revenge of the Killer Tomatoes.
I will have to look this up. It is not ringing a bell at all.
It was a fairly obscure show. Let's get back to the
Okay.
Stephanie show.
I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated.
Didn't he
We
consider
did things.
you
I
his
played sports in
stalker?
college. He played basketball. His brother played basketball. Um, we just, it just didn't work out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It was like I went out with other
She is
guys,
so exaggerated.
saw other guys. I went on lots of vacations. Um, you know,
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends or kind of,
I mean,
problems? Is it friendly, not friendly?
no, I don't think it was not friendly. I mean, we were friendly. I know that we went to Hawaii
Shagged a bit.
at one point.
Okay,
Another
so
friend of mine who's actually dying right.
we need to break to discuss this Hawaii thing. Also, unfortunate pause. But after John's wife was murdered and the case had gone cold, Stephanie invited him on a, diving expedition in Hawaii. So John, being, well, at least doing slight due diligence, called the detective and he's like, "Are you sure that Stephanie didn't, take out my wife?" And they're like, "No, we have no reason to suspect a fellow or LAPD officer. She's good." So John actually went scuba diving and possibly rekindled a little bit of that frictional love uh,
What kind
in
of diving?
Hawaii. Not, I'm not putting that up there, crazy warlock, but thank you. So, it, the levels of just disgusting this woman is. I mean, to all the time know that you unalive the wife. And Roy, we are watching the interrogation of Stephanie Lazarus, a former LAPD officer who unalived her romantic rival, Uh, and then after doing that, took the husband out on a scuba diving trip and rekindled that romance for just a little bit.
We'll call it scuba.
I
We
mean,
all know what
just
was really going on.
yeah, the levels of psychopathy that you could do this to another human being, and then also take the widow out to on a trip to like get his mind off the trauma. Just it,
Yeah,
it takes a level of brass boobs that I have never seen, and well, like I said, psychopathy
yeah.
or something.
Just fellas, be careful who you're answering that 2 a.m. phone call from. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, she's definitely nuttier than Laura Owens because she went through with completely unaliving someone, rising up the ranks in the LAPD to become a fine arts forgery antiquities detective. And unfortunately, she happened to bite her romantic rival after she was done assaulting and using a force multiplier, or in the struggle at some point. And cops in the crime scene at that point did think to swab the bite mark to see if there was any way they could get maybe blood typing or something. Well, unfortunately for Stephanie, time has caught up with her. It is 2009, and the cold case file or detectives now have her DNA on the murder victim.
Yeah, which was
So,
clever, actually, how they did it. So
yeah.
they're not going to get into any of this, but so the way that they actually got her DNA is apparently they had suspected that she was the one who did it, so they followed her around for weeks, and she finally threw away a cup with a
Oh,
straw
yeah.
in it, and that's how they got her DNA.
Yeah, and they had to be really careful since she is a detective. She is in the LAPD, and Wolf, or not Wolfram, Veilhammer was saying, so the cold case detectives were working right across the hall from her husband, who is a fellow LAPD, detective. So it all had to be done very undercover, very kind of subterfuge. They could not let her know that she was under suspicion at all. And another point to them bringing her in to get interrogated is that she would have to leave her service weapon out of the interrogation rooms. So they wanted to make sure that she didn't have a weapon on her.
Because they knew that she
So,
had a past of shooty people.
yeah, she doesn't handle rejection or bad things well. So they were like, we're not going to roll the dice on this one. I've played Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not getting a one.
Yeah.
Right now was went to Hawaii with us at some point.
Remember roughly when that was?
Geez, let me think. I'd have to check my pictures, or I'd say I'd ask Greg, but my friend Greg is like dying of liver cancer right now. Yeah, I mean,
And you were
it's
saying that
it's 2009 now.
had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or?
I used to call her bitch. Does that count?
Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about?
I have a voodoo doll still of her. She was a nurse. She was a size 7.5 shoes. She was an 8, didn't match, heifer. But anywho, yeah, no, I may have a box of her of keepsakes that I keep to remember her. I stab it every anniversary of our breakup.
No lies detected, actually.
I only play a crazy ex-girlfriend on YouTube. So but I have met a few, and I can see some of them doing this.
Yeah, bitches do be crazy.
About her?
Well, I think I'm going to say I think she was a nurse. Um, man, I can't remember how he said he met her. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been so long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding? You know,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, did not go to their wedding.
I went on the
Um,
honeymoon though.
couldn't even tell you what year.
She's like, I tried to get in, but security stopped me. Who would have thought wearing a wedding dress covered in blood would be, inappropriate for a wedding?
I mean, it was fine for high school, like
I
Carrie.
mean, has everyone seen Carrie? I just wanted everyone to feel my pain. Acknowledge my pain. Acknowledge me.
It's funny how our minds went to the same place with Carrie.
Yes.
Gary got married. I mean, it's been a million years ago.
you ever remember if you ever talked to her? Because it seems like a lot of you who were at the school at UCLA, you guys kind of were friends during and after school. So I don't know if you guys still associated afterwards once he was married or anything.
With him?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I would say, the people that were on the dorm floor, we'd get get-togethers. There's probably like 4 or 5. I don't think he ever came. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I bet
no,
he
probably.
did.
it was mostly.
No, he probably called ahead, asked if you were going to be there, and he and his wife didn't want to go because you kept calling them and hanging up or sending Jehovah's Witnesses to them.
That's an
I
option.
mean, well, I'm just saying, if you go to the LDS website and, have someone that wants to learn about the good news, you can always just, recommend people, allegedly in Minecraft.
Really?
Used to be. I don't know currently, and I would never do that because that is wrong and mean. Though spreading the word of Jesus Christ is good, so I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
Those poor little missionaries on bicycles going to people I would randomly send them to. I apologize, and I would like to repent and atone in some way. But I don't know how, and it was kind of funny, so I'll think of some way, I promise.
I mean, this is a public apology. I think it's okay.
I'm gonna get a cease and desist from the LDS Church and Scientology. Like, effing stop talking about us.
Mostly
That's
girls. A girl named Smita, Diane.
Who names
There's 2 Dianes, but the one Diane, I don't think
Who
she ever
names their
came. I
kids
kind of lost
Smita?
contact with her. We were good friends on the floor. Yeah, I mean, I don't, again, I mean, what, I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
What did you hear?
Wait a minute. So the one important question you have one line answer. This doesn't look suspicious at all, ma'am.
No.
Also, when you open your eyes really big, I believe you. Raise your eyebrows and open your eyes. I believe you more. I mean, this is so if you do watch other interrogations, this is what we call, liars. They want to look at you when they're talking to see how you're taking their BS. So she's maintaining eye contact on the things she's trying to tell them, but her movements are so exaggerated. It's
Yeah.
hard to get kind of a baseline on her. I don't know if that was an attempt or she's just this spazzy.
Yeah, they do get into that at near the end. They ask her about being bubbly or something, and she goes off on this weird diatribe about how she is hyper and all this stuff. And it's like, is that a way you're trying to hide your, we'll just say, quirkiness?
I still don't understand how she got married to someone. Those eyes looking at me when I'm sleeping, men, you know what? Y'all have more faith in women than I do, because I'd be like, I'd see her as a roommate and I'd be like, no, no.
Yep.
So God bless you, men. Someone married her.
Well, One dude did.
Well, I'm just saying voluntarily. I mean,
Well,
she didn't even have to
maybe.
unalive someone that we know of.
I mean, he may have been under duress. We don't know.
True. True.
Did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. Um, I think I spoke to another friend of his about it. Um,
And
I
how
held
did you
him in
first learn about
my
that?
arms the night it happened.
Geez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. Um,
Someone
I think
tweeted
at one
me.
point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend of his.
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick, Mike. Hmm,
Tyson.
um,
And
anyways,
Ike.
he may have lived in the dorms. I don't remember if that's how I met him. I may have talked to him. I mean, I don't remember how I heard. I mean, I don't even remember what year it was.
And you think you said you thought his wife was a nurse. Do you have any idea where she was working at the time, or did he ever mention that to you? Was it a hospital or a doctor's office?
I'm sure he must have mentioned it. Now that you're bringing that up,
Her
I
work
think
was
she worked at a
7.3
hospital
miles away
somewhere.
from her home.
And yeah, I
We
may have
left
met her
every
at a
Thursday at
hospital.
4 a.m. and I just happened to
I
be
may have
there
talked to her
time.
once or twice,
At a
or
hospital?
more.
But being that you're kind of used to see John, was it everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
Only when he went in dry.
I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment.
Okay.
Geez,
Now, what Stephanie is trying to play off, but what the detectives already know, is that Stephanie had several loud and violently loud to the point that uh to the point that other people noticed and commented on confrontations with Sherry.
Yeah.
Or Shelley. Damn
Sherry.
it. Sherry. For the love of all that is holy, Mo. But so they know these things, and she's over here like, I may have seen her LinkedIn, but I didn't like do anything to it, like send it into ICE or anything. I mean, I tried. They said that, Rasmussen is not the name that they were looking for. So then I sent her into the IRS, but, nothing.
Apparently, she pays her taxes.
Yeah. So, I mean, imagine a stalker ex-girlfriend, but also one that is with the LAPD. So if she starts doing anything really cray-cray and you call the cops, they're just going to say she was out on a beat. She was doing this. So a lot of this behavior that she got away with was sort of covered up, downplayed, and only the parents actually fought for this angle for so long.
Yeah, and the two guys who were in the room with her, they eventually ended up getting the case, and they decided that they were actually going to pursue the things despite what the evidence showed.
Yeah.
Because it sounded like there was some other people who knew this information, but they had elected to just ignore it. Because that whole, bros before hoes things, but with cops.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really was. And the sad thing is that unfortunately, Sherry's father passed away before he could see justice to this woman. I mean, Stephanie's funny and she's a ding dong, so we can make fun of her, but there was actually a really long and kind of sad fight that the parents had to do to get this even noticed or paid attention to. And
Yeah.
that's also something to keep in mind.
Yeah, because they were protecting her, basically.
Yeah.
Because there was another cold case investigator prior to these two dudes who actually who raised the questions, and when they found out that she was a cop, the people above the previous detective basically told her just to leave it alone.
Yeah. There were a lot of things that went wrong, but I am glad that the family finally got some justice.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that? I don't even know what year she, got killed.
Where was his apartment?
On Roscoe.
Ma'am, you celebrate and get a
Yeah,
piece of cake
Roscoe and
every year.
East or west of DeSoto, either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved after? Did he move after he got married, or do you know? Or
I'm sure he did.
did you know where he was living, or?
Because she always wants nicer
Somewhere in the
things.
valley?
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No, never
No.
went out to, get together, dinners,
I
anything of that nature?
no. Like I said, his sister used to
I
come
mean,
over.
technically,
Well-
that's not a lie. She didn't visit them
Yeah.
both. It was only her.
Well, so there were a couple of times where she would just drop up, quote unquote, out of the blue to like, oh, John, I don't know how to wax my skis, like in the skimpiest, Taylor Swift, try hard outfit. I'm sure the Aquanet was strong at that point, but she would do it in full view of the wife, like, I just can't do it. You're the best, and the wife was very uncomfortable. Sherry was not comfortable with this. I mean, I would parallel it almost to the way that the women around John O'Keefe kind of acted very territorial and possessive and unwelcoming and just very odd with John. But she has that added layer of I used to sleep with him and that I am a cop. So it was very intimidating.
I mean, it wasn't used to sleep with him, though.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he likes handcuffs.
Hey, to each their own.
I mean, you've met this woman, even, in the 80s when she was in her prime, she still would have been this crazy. This is her moderated a little bit.
True.
I don't, you would have to have handcuffs, in my opinion. Never mind. I
You
mean,
have to modulate the crazy a little bit.
yes.
Come over. His sister had come to my place. I knew his brother because his brother played basketball at Northridge. In fact, I was just coming across some pictures that I just scanned from. I take a lot of photos, like 10,000, and I just did a service where I scanned everything. And I'd seen some pictures of his brother playing
Well, you
basketball.
just put them all on your computer so you could have them
Yeah.
accessible and do
Oh,
things
yeah.
with them.
Well, my partner is a big photo thing, and he had a deal to scan. So I spent a ton of time just scanning photos. I paid a company to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got photos of, his brother, his sister, of
10,000 pictures?
Oh, yeah.
How long did that take them?
Months.
Now, what do they put?
I love how everyone else is like, 10,000 pictures, but we take that many in our phone, but I can't tell you the last time I've printed out a picture. I am a terrible mother. We've got like those, like psych ward art that you find at Hobby Lobby, and you get like half off, and you just have to have something on your walls. But
Psych ward art.
well, they have the like soft watercolors and things like that.
Yeah.
It's
Just never
it's
heard it described that way.
well, that's what I call it. And I think Vale is having to work on other stuff, so that's the clicking. I'm doing, I'm trying to talk with the interrogation too. So it is what it is. We have to let Valehammer work, or else he can't, have food. And then he can't make more animations for me to do other stuff.
Yes, that is me. The clickety clackety is me. Because I like keyboards that clickety clack. Because I'm old school.
I need to find a quieter keyboard, but I don't want to go to Best Buy. I hate Best Buy. I hate it. And I want to just order one from Amazon, but then you can't trust them when they say quiet.
Um, I can probably give you some hints and stuff on what to
Oh,
look for.
cool. But I also want that glitters. I want one that glitters and lights up, so it's a hard sell.
No, like there's definitely ones that you can get. I
Oh,
can
cool.
get you some information.
Well, I'm gonna scan my 1,000 pictures. I love it. The
Well,
sad
that's
thing is
different.
most of my pictures are memes.
Or of Tabasco bottles.
It was very sweet. We just all were terrified when it opened up and we were all in our good, like, oh gosh, Target
I
clothes,
was gonna say, please tell me it was your church clothes.
No.
Y'all playing spin the bottle in church.
No, it was my first boy-girl party. And I still hadn't realized that Ride My Pony was not about My Little Ponies, which now I understand why my mother was uncomfortable when I was listening to it.
And yeah, oh yeah.
I was very naive because listening to it now, I'm like, how did I not get that was not about My Little Pony?
Here you go, Mo. Go back and watch Grease.
That is
That's
true.
gonna be a shocker for you.
Oh,
They put that on a. I'm just curious myself. Did they put it on? They get the all on one DVD? They don't need like a hard drive or anything?
No. There's like, I think 11 DVDs. Yeah, I haven't had
Jeez,
time.
Oh, it's a series of DVDs that they put them
she's
on.
got more
yeah.
than the
Oh, okay.
director's
Yeah, I mean,
long
I'm not that
cut of
familiar with computer stuff,
Avatar.
so
yeah.
that's why I was asking.
It's like 11 DVDs.
Oh, okay.
So, I haven't had a chance to go through them. You could go through and pick which ones you don't want. I don't have time to do that.
Right.
So like you said, did I,
Hey,
I don't think we
AW.
ever socialized. He'd still call me. I can't say that I would. I mean, if he's married, I don't know that I would have called him. I mean, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. It's been a million years ago.
How long was John married before his wife died?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
And
8 days, 9
after
years,
his wife died,
5 seconds.
Did you talk to him again or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I did talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him, probably his parents, probably some other friends. I'm sure I talked to him.
Yeah.
But you're not sure where he moved to after he got married?
No idea. I mean,
Never went over to visit him or
I don't think.
meet
I
his
mean, I don't
wife or-
think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I did. I know.
I just love that her face is bold, underlined in all caps, just like mine most of the time. Like she could not have a poker face if she tried.
Yeah, she is kind of a bit of a dead giveaway for stuff.
I mean, that was excited and fear, like, oh fuck, what should I say about this one? I mean, we could have talked. I mean, we talked, we went to Hawaii, snuggled a bit, sport, if you know what I mean.
We played spoons.
Oh my goodness.
He lived on Roscoe for a long, long time. I mean, I may know. I mean, he may have told me where they lived, somewhere in the valley. I mean, he may have said I lived over such and such, but I couldn't tell you specifically where.
But you don't remember specifically ever going over to visit him or visit them and wherever he moved when he left Roscoe?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't think so. But,
Okay.
I don't want to say, no, I don't think so. And then he says, oh, yeah, she came over for something, dropped something off. I don't know.
So if you did go over there, just be like a quick thing, like you're saying, drop something off or...
Maybe.
Like my heart that
You don't
you
remember as
trampled
far as like
on.
going there to
Like her
have dinner
panties.
or like a social?
mean, la- oh, God. She just doesn't have good pauses. I think I might just do a short with all the pauses clicked together. I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to try now.
That is an amazing, like, grumpy cat face.
Yeah, I am not a cat, Your Honor. I am not a cat.
And that is probably true, Warlock.
JW, she unalived her romantic rival, Sherry Rasmussen, in the early 80s when she was just a baby cop with the LAPD. Well, she left behind some DNA and what was a cold case warmed up, and, well, now she's getting interrogated.
And she's
That's
not doing very good.
she is not being stoic and, trying to dig for information. She knows a lot, but she doesn't know. She has perfected the politician answer of just talking a lot, putting about 600 words out there, but they don't mean anything.
Yeah, she's excellent at that.
Yes.
Thing at the house party.
Well, if you guys know something, I can't, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, but
Yeah,
After,
Sherry would not let you in her
John's
house
wife
for a
died,
party.
and you said you may have been talking to him. Did your relationship start up again?
I would say no. Um, Again, can you give me a year? I mean, this
Well,
is like
She
2009.
died in 1986.
But she's acting like she was like this was in her infanthood.
Yeah. She's like, can you give me a year?
Is this multiple choice? Did I use a hammer? Did I use a gun? Did I use the knife? You gotta
Yeah.
feed me this information, Kappa. I have no idea. I mean,
1986. That was when Chernobyl blew up.
well, see, she was out taking pictures of that. She has no idea what happened. That's why she really got set up. She had pictures of the Kennedy thing,
Yeah, that could be.
just like Alcatraz.
Yeah. It is weird. Like there, I do catch that too. Like Warlock says, why does she have a New York accent? I know that's Mo, but
Yeah.
like there is a bit of a weird accent that like comes out of Stephanie from time to time, and I don't know
She
why.
she does have a weird inflection when she really wants you to believe that she doesn't know anything. It's a very it's a tonal thing, but
Yeah. It just sounds strange. Like I noticed that because I couldn't remember this case, so I went back and I listened to it this
again,
morning.
this happened in LA, so California, and I believe she was convicted in, I want to say, let me go to the article because I so the case was cold. This is in 2009, and then she was found guilty uh, in 2012, sentenced to 27 years behind bars. Now, due to finagling, she was able to keep her LAPD retirement and retire, I guess, unscathed or what have you. But
Yeah, gross.
yeah, it was all kinds of gross. The crime scene analyst who discovered the DNA link had discovered a DNA link, I think, earlier, or had asked about running Stephanie as a possible suspect, and the state denied her. So she actually won a settlement against the state, I believe, and so did the parents. So that is at least a good thing. It doesn't bring Sherry back, but
Yeah, it's just a lot of tomfoolery.
yes, this was a whole shenanigans case. I wonder if it is. I'll have to look if there's actual full video of the case, but a lot of cases were not covered, gavel to gavel like they are now.
Yeah, I know there was cameras in the courtroom, but that could be like local news popping in for a day, or like the verdict, because I think that part of the verdict is out there, but that's all I really saw. I didn't see anything else from the rest of the trial other than when Scott, what the hell was his name? John.
John.
I think when he testified,
Oh, yeah.
I think that was about
The-
it.
Oh, have a good nap, Claudia. Naps are a
Yes.
good thing on the weekends. They are one of the great things.
Yes, and Puddle said OJ was back then. So OJ was 7 years after the unaliving in this case.
Yeah. So it is amazing that there is suspecting. Let me get this out in English instead of whatever that was. It is suspected, as they have dug deeper into this case, that because Stephanie had access as a police officer to storage room, there was some evidence that was either misplaced or lost, and there is reason to suspect that good old Stephanie just, made evidence disappear, because that never. So, 82.
Because she, if I remember right, she worked in, so the crime happened in Van Nuys. And so so all the evidence was in the Van Nuys PD. Well, at that time or thereafter, they're not really clear on this, is Stephanie worked at the Van Nuys PD. So she had access to everything there. So
Yeah.
that's why they're suspected, because there was evidence that just completely just turned up missing, and entirely. And there's also I'll save the spoiler on this one because they're going to talk about it. But Stephanie lost something, quote
Yeah.
unquote, and ironically, that may come to play in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 86.
1986.
Okay. Like I said, I'm faintly remembering that I went to Hawaii with my friend Greg. Greg and I got certified for scuba diving. And I'm thinking that John met us there, meaning Greg and I. That could have been. I got certified toward the end of 88, or 88, 89, because I got recertified again, and it had been like over 10 years. So I got recertified. My husband and I got recertified. And I'm pretty sure that John met us there. Again, I'd have to tell you what year it was. I'd have to look at my pictures. And other than that, I can't even say. He may have called me, at my home. I may have called him. I don't think
You had
he
his
got
number
together
on
with
speed
our
dial
group.
before they had speed
I
dial.
don't think after wife's test.
Or even before. I don't. We went to weddings together.
Did you?
I got pictures. Like I said, I couldn't tell you years. It's been a million years ago.
After he got married or whatever, were you dating anybody in particular?
And that was what year? 1986, you said?
I think he got married in
1986.
around 85, 86, something like that.
86,
Were
not
you seeing
82
anyone
for the death.
seriously, or?
Sorry.
Yeah.
God, I couldn't say.
I always remember the year she
Geez,
graduated.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I dated a fireman,
What was his name?
Mike Arndt, and I'm trying to think.
Was he
when I met him.
LAFD or?
He was LAFD.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think when I went.
And he was like, not my fire, not my problems. Am I right?
Yeah.
He's
Well,
like, there's.
she exaggerated a little bit here because there was more than one fireman.
Well, you have to make sure that the entire fire station is up to code.
Yeah, and make sure they're serviced properly.
Hey, we want to ensure a good working relationship between LAPD and the fire department. What else were we going to do but send Stephanie over there to boost morale? I'm sure that's what got hiring going.
Oh.
They're like, no, we promise we want to go more forest fires, more.
Yes, send us to work, please.
I probably met Mike. I went to Devonshire. Let's see, I left Hollywood in 80. I worked Hollywood 84 to 85, I think. And then I went to Devonshire, and that's when I met Mike and some other firemen. And,
What, the station next door?
She's like Mike and those other guys I used to hang out with on Wednesday night. I don't remember much, but we had fun.
Yeah,
Dang
just
it.
some other firemen. Like the whole damn house.
It was the 80s. We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But there was a lava lamp and Fleetwood Mac involved. You know it.
Yeah. And those guys went on to found Firehouse Subs. I say that as somebody who actually likes this Firehouse Subs.
God, I hope that's actually the backstory. Like, look, we all got exposed to Stephanie Lazarus, and we couldn't go back into that firehouse, so we decided to make subs. We don't
Yeah.
talk about it much.
Yeah. It was a dark, dark time.
Because I used to work Hollywood, so I just wonder if it's the station next door.
It was when I worked Devonshire. I met Mike.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm trying to
What
think. I
about
was
those
in
other
Devonshire
firemen,
85,
ma'am? Do you have
and I'm
pictures?
thinking that
I may like to see your
I would have
fireman.
met him probably sometime.
You know, I think I could see her fireman period pictures. I think those would be okay. It's all the other pictures.
Yeah, she has a whole calendar.
She's like, what am I going to do for April? I had to use the entire firehouse.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love how she just kind of rolled it out there too. Like, look, there was Mike. I know his name. I totally do. And then a couple other guys, firefighter, maybe Santa. And they're like,
Yeah.
what now?
I don't remember any of their names.
Sometime shortly after I went to Devonshire, because I actually met his buddies at a fire. And then
We took all our
Mike
clothes
and I
off for some
dated,
reason. He said I was a druid.
just really kind of casually.
Uh-huh.
And we remained good friends.
You still in touch with him, or?
Okay.
Unfortunately, he
Do you
passed.
think her friends are friends or she just stalks them? But Facebook has come out, so she no longer has to take pictures from a distance.
I mean, that's a good question. I'm not sure what the answer to that would be. I mean, I would take a gander here that they may not be voluntary friends.
They're like, we had no idea she was taking pictures of us still.
Yeah.
Passed away.
Oh, really?
He died he had a car crash. He did race cars, and he went heading into a wall.
Mm.
I couldn't tell you what year that was, but he
Kind of
passed
a
away. He was in a
construct.
coma, and they pulled the plug.
Right.
Seems like anyway. So
You know, generally we don't just like throw those things in. Like, yeah, you know, he was in a coma, like 300 miles. You could see like brain everywhere. And then you don't just kind of float off. But by the way, at Target, I found this really cool new toothbrush. It's electric. I mean, generally there's kind of like this terrible thing happened. You kind of
Yeah.
let that sit for a little bit, and then you don't go off to. I have photos somewhere. I took, me right next to the cat. She was the original selfie chick. She had the Polaroid up in front of the casket, and she's like giving it the Buddy Christ, thumbs up and taking the Polaroid.
Definitely. I bet she had a selfie stick in every size.
Oh my God, she did.
She had to have.
I couldn't even tell you what year. I'm thinking I went to Devonshire in '85, and I know I met the guys because it was kind of a funny incident of how I met them, and that's how I remember. It was sometime probably '85.
Right.
Okay, so
specifically,
I remember
don't
my
know if they
orgy
remember
very
them two and
well.
now
Everything else
married
is kind of a
females, 'cause I
blur
kinda-
from the 80s.
All three. I mean,
Did you guys socialize like when you were out with Mike? Did those guys come out with you too? Was it kind of like did you do stuff with
No,
his
actually-
No, it was
friends?
more
or-
of a coming in party.
There were three. There was two firemen, Eric and Gary. I met them first. Then they introduced me to Mike. So that's how I met Mike, and Mike and I dated.
Mhm.
So, and not. I wouldn't even say. I couldn't even tell you for how long, because then it would say we decided, it wasn't working out, and we'd be better friends. And he introduced me, I think, to some other guy who now is on LAPD. Randy Cordovas.
I don't think I
He's
know
a
him.
detective. He's got a twin brother who's on the fire department. That's how I met Randy, because he had a twin brother.
How many penthouse fantasies is she listing off right here just from like the short time in the 80s? We've got team full of firemen, a guy and his twin brother, which allegedly, but I'm going with my total made up headcanon at this point. She could write for Penthouse.
She could. I mean, maybe she did.
Oh God.
That's what she did in Moonlighting.
True story. Dear Penthouse, one day I went to the fire station with Gary and I can't.
And wouldn't you know it?
Identical.
And wouldn't you know it, the hose inspection went great. Even the rookie was A-okay.
Yeah. He's a little sloppy, but,
We're working on it. God dang it.
working on that hose control.
And it's not like she was, she was very physically fit in the 80s, but it's the hair that I don't even understand how anyone procreated in the 80s. I'm glad my parents chose to partake because I'm here, but the hair. Men had perms. I rest my case.
No lies detected again.
So I am glad that the 80s allowed for procreation since I'm here, but I don't know about them haircuts, y'all. I think I'd have been against it.
Yeah. And all that hairspray and aerosol. Blame them for the climate change.
Because, yeah, even guys with the conservative cut still had a little party in the back.
Yeah.
And again, perms. I just want to throw out that men were getting perms.
Yeah.
It was a terrible, dark time in humanity.
But the mullets, though, those were down.
Well, yeah. Well, they never went away here.
Well,
They never
really
regressed.
went away anywhere. Mullets are they're still a thing.
Sadly.
Identical twin on the fire department.
Okay.
And
And wait, you and
I
Randy
dated him when I couldn't tell you. It was before he came on the job.
Oh, before Randy came on the job?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that was, I'm trying to remember if Mike may have,
Jung, the unalived
trying to
happened in
remember.
86, and
Mike may have dated
this interrogation is in
a girl
09.
that he dated. Oh, God, it sounds too weird.
Oh no,
Randy may have
Stephanie,
dated
this is the weird
A
part.
gal that Mike was dating, and then Randy broke up with that gal. I couldn't even tell you the gal's name, if I'm even thinking of the story right. And then I started dating Randy.
Yeah.
So again, not like I was a huge floozy or anything, but
No, but
you know,
I mean, a lot
I
of
mean,
times,
Um, I'm gonna need to check the bathroom stalls from 1984 through 86 at the firehouse. I'm gonna need pictures of those.
It's like Stephanie. The firehouse still has a slippery when wet thing with your number on it.
And she's like, it's not like I was a floozy. Like, ma'am, we all know what happens when a little bit of, oh gosh, Lionel Richie comes on.
Hello.
Yes. Is it me you're looking for? And it's never, no, Stephanie has never, it's never been you that they're looking for.
But after a few drinks, it's you they settle for.
Hey, Meatloaf said 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Touche.
times, right? At least from my female partners that I've had, it's hard dating guys that aren't involved in kind of our circle, right? Because some guys are intimidated by,
yeah,
women
actually,
police officers and
Randy was like an engineer at the time. He was like some kind of an engineer.
on a rig, on a fire truck.
No, an engineer.
Oh, a professional engineer.
Yeah, and then I
okay.
think he lost a job and then came on the department.
I see.
So,
Stop
Have you
saying
guys
that
done
ward,
stuff,
ma'am. I
as
can't,
far as you recall, after John's
can't
wife
react like a
died,
non-12-year-old boy.
did you start a relationship again with,
And that's just my
John, or
default.
dating casually or anything like that?
like I said, he met Greg and I in Hawaii. Okay.
That was something you guys kind of planned together, like go as a group, or you ran into him, or
No, I think that obviously I must have talked to him, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to Hawaii with my buddy Greg. We're scuba. We just got certified scuba diving. We're going to be in Hawaii. Hey, if you want to come and join us, come join us."
Right.
And I think that's what it was.
You know, yeah.
I may have asked some other people to as well.
Because that's what I do when I know that, a guy I like suddenly lost his wife in a kind of violent-ish way with me as a possible suspect. I always invite him to Hawaii because I just got recertified in scuba diving.
Yeah. It's like, would you like to go diving with me?
And Greg was a beard. Let's be honest. She wanted John there. She's like, I had what's his face with me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Greg was there. Randy was there. Mark was there.
Somehow the entire Firehouse 9 was there for some reason. No, these were people she used to date. They're trying to get her to basically, she is going to dance this entire interrogation. Basically, I can't remember. It was a million years ago. Honestly, I don't know.
I think she's asking if the people who are doing the interrogation are people that she used to work with. And so I don't believe that they were people that she worked with, but they worked across the hall from her current husband.
Yes. So they had to get her into the interrogation room under a ruse, since she was a fine art kind of forgery, stolen goods kind of person. They basically brought her in and said, we have an art thief. We need your, expertise on it. And that was, partially to get her in there, not under duress, and then to disarm her, because in the interrogation rooms, you could not have your service weapon. And she's already proven herself to, freak out just a little bit when, things don't go her way.
Actually, it just dawned on me, Mo, the irony of her being an investigator for fine art theft and stuff like that, when the people who were quote unquote being like the original suspects were like a couple of Hispanic guys who were apparently stealing stuff in the neighborhood, in the neighborhood where she was unalived. The irony just hit me.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's a whole weird case. If I can find, I will put that on my list of things to do. If I can find footage of this trial, then I will try to. We can watch it. But the amount of absolute uh, incompetence, like corruption, looking the other way in this case is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Sorry. Like,
Yeah, it is pretty bad.
yeah. So while we can make fun of her, but it just is so odd because she's probably sat in the interrogator seat on the other side. Is this how she asks people questions? I mean,
Yeah,
I understand that she's probably anxious and maybe that is heightening some of her movements, but this type of person would in no way get me to open up about anything. I mean,
yeah.
I would
Because
clam up. She's
well, even look at the expression on her face right now, which is another great pause moment. Um,
Mhm.
it's like whatever that face is, isn't something like I would not remotely make in any sort of day to day activity. Like, I might make that face if I was going like, sure, or something like that about something,
Yeah,
like in a joking way with friends. But that's not a
yeah.
serious face.
Well, they're supposed to be exaggerated, like believe me, but they're exaggerated to the point of cartoonish. And
Hmm.
underneath all the fake sort of hee hee, I don't remember, there's genuine fear in the eyes.
Yeah.
And she just poker face she does not have. Her shoulders are also much higher up, even though she is shrugging right now. I mean,
Hmm.
she does not keep her cool. She does not
No.
remember the golden rule, which is I would like a lawyer, please. And
Yeah.
my union rep in her case.
Well, this is true.
You know, what island did we go to? I think the Big Island in Kauai. He either met us on the Big Island or Kauai. I'm thinking of Greg and I might have scuba dived a lot on the Big Island as well as Kauai. I don't remember which island again. I'd have to look at my
I was
pictures.
so excited that
Um, I
John was there,
traveled
I
a
let
lot
Greg drown.
on my vacations. I mean, I was always gone for at least a month, um, and I would go places, and I would either run into people or you know meet people. Um,
And Greg, this Greg we're talking about, he was like someone you were dating or just a buddy? Or?
no, you know what? I would say we started out probably just buddies, and either I was with somebody or he was with somebody, but it was kind of like we ended up just kind of being like brother and sister. Um,
I mean,
Let's
it's
maybe he
sleep
wanted
together.
some more, but it never worked out. But we did things together. I would consider him. I've probably known him. Let's see, I've been on the job almost 26 years. I've probably known Greg 23, 24 years.
Does he still talk to him?
Oh yeah, he's dying of liver
Oh, he's
cancer
the one
right now.
dying of
Yeah,
cancer. Yeah, sorry.
yeah. I consider him a good friend.
So we're friends again.
you
I
know,
slip over for a little
yeah.
comfort and relaxation.
I'm like, dude, you talk. I will make sure hospice is shorter than you thought it was going to be. He's like, I'm never going to tell them about your diaries. I promise. I promise I won't tell. And she's
Yeah, I'm
like
gonna make
holding
sure of that
his
too, buddy.
IV drip. She just goes over there. Don't you effing open your damn mouth. And then she lets go of the IV drip. That's how I imagine she visits. But
Yeah.
I also imagine she took a selfie Polaroid with, people's, you know, coffin body. So this is
That's
just
probably true too.
my imagination talking, pure speculation, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in the totally plausible.
I believe it.
I don't know what to tell you on that.
I mean, when you heard about John's wife being killed, I mean, what was your reaction? I mean, You thought you heard about it, what, through a friend or in a bulletin or
Either
something?
a friend or a bulletin. I called. I called the family. I called maybe some of his friends that I knew, and I mean, obviously, it's shock if I heard it at work, which I may have. I faintly remember a bulletin going around. Um, Either that or somebody called me. I honestly don't remember.
Right.
And then probably called his family. Called.
Okay,
I don't know initially.
in not crazy people world, you find out that your ex that you are okay with their significant other dies. Do you call his family?
No,
Okay, me either. I mean, unless
no.
we were together for like a gajillion years, and even then, probably not. Maybe
They would
I'd send a card.
the circumstances under which that would cross my mind would be so extringent that I couldn't, like, the likelihood of something like here would be an example. If you were married to somebody
Yes.
and they passed away unexpectedly or something like that, well, that wouldn't even work because then they wouldn't be dating anybody else.
Yeah, I guess I guess the perfect analog would be when my first husband passed away. Like, I didn't get calls from his, first girlfriend. Like, I know you were married to him, and I just wanted to say he was a good guy, and I feel your pain too. Because I'd have been like, what just happened? Also, I would never stop talking about it if that had actually happened. I would be on here every day talking. I would still be in touch with that heifer. I'd be like, you want to have a podcast?
Yeah, like the circumstances under which that would happen would be so unique and just not
Yeah,
a common thing that I just couldn't even imagine what that would be.
yeah. It's the weirdest thing because I don't think I would ever call my ex's parents if someone. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Maybe a card, maybe like the 99-cent card though from Walmart. Like I wouldn't go the 48-cent card. I have some pride, but
I can't say if I initially spoke to him or not. I honestly don't remember. I may have said to somebody, "Hey, have him call me if he wants to talk," and then he may have done that.
Uh-huh.
you were at his doorbell with a nightie on the night of.
Do you know what the
Let's be
circumstances
honest.
were regarding her death?
Geez, let me think back.
Whole 6-pack of Zimas or Bartles and
geez.
James.
I don't know if it was, if it was a burglary or something. Yeah, it's been so many years. I can faintly think that I may have saw a flyer.
Yeah.
May have had her picture on it. I may.
God, the things that are
That's
going
why
through
I
my
say,
brain
if
right now
somebody
are
had called
terrible.
me, I may not have known what her last name was. I may have. Maybe if you told me, I would remember it.
Remember the first name?
Shelley, Sherry. I don't know, something maybe,
LaFwanda.
like I said, it's been so many years. And
again, the problem she's having with the name is because she called her the B word, the C word, or some combination of many, many words instead of
Yeah.
her name.
Yeah. See, she showed up at the door in a
True.
nightie and it's like, let me get some of that Widowmaker.
That's a good one.
From all the years, as far as you can remember, do you remember ever talking to her? Just
well, I said earlier, I may have, I may have talked to her.
You mentioned a hospital, maybe. You may have talked to her at a hospital.
Yeah, I may have. I'm thinking back now. You guys are bringing up all these whole memories.
No, it kind of dusts off
Now
the
that you're
cuff.
talking about it, it was the morgue.
She's like, I saw her when she stopped moving, and then I, lost I lost stuff. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a million years ago. I have pictures.
Yeah.
That's it. Next, when Mr. Mo asked me how much I spent on the new Sailor Moon scepter, I'm gonna be like, that was a million years ago. He's gonna say it just came in today. I'm going to say, I have pictures. I'll explain everything to you, but it's a million years ago. I graduated in 1982. I can't do this.
Yeah, it was a million years ago. It came across the Pacific Ocean on a gondola. That's why it
Yeah,
took so long to get here.
it was yesterday. How am I supposed to remember yesterday without my pictures? I
God,
mean,
that sounds
the way
so
that
much like a Sarah Boone argument.
it really does. That's what I'm saying. She is so mirror image Sarah Boone, but in a weird way. And it might just be this personality. They are so utterly confused that we are not buying their BS. I mean, they are so sold on their own stories, on their own narratives, that even people just actively asking them a question about reality, they don't understand. I
Yeah,
have no idea how you live in that headspace.
I don't either.
It
It's like those
it is.
people. What is the percentage of people who don't have a conscience or like a voice in their head?
Oh yeah,
I don't understand how that works.
that's true.
I'm thinking that because I mean, we would date, he would date other people, I would date other people. And I think,
But you weren't a floozy.
at one point, I mean, he may have been dating her, or I don't know, maybe he was married. I don't even remember. And I'm like, you know what? Why are you calling me if you're either dating her or living with her or married to her? Because I honestly don't remember the time frame. And I'm like, come on, knock it off. And now I'm thinking I may have gone to her and say, hey, you know what? Is he dating you? He's bothering me. And so I'm thinking that we had a conversation about that. One or two, maybe.
Maybe
It could have been three.
30
I don't want to say I
times.
had three
I put
conversations with
notes
him.
under her
Like
I
at,
don't
like at her
know.
work or
Slashed her
at their
tires. I
house
mean,
or
No, I'm thinking that
girl stuff.
he obviously must have told me where she worked. I'm thinking it was a hospital somewhere in LA. And I could have
Like
been,
pictures of herself
again, what
on
year
her
was that? Where was
car.
I working? Um,
I knew all of her alternate routes to work.
I'm trying to think of when did you say they got married?
I don't
Oh,
know. I
like
think it was like in '85 or '86 or something like that. We just kind of picked this up. We don't know a lot about it.
and I will say that's a really good move that the
Mm-hmm.
detective did because he's making her think, I mean,
That
in
they
a
don't know
very
anything. Yeah.
yeah, in a convincing way because at some level she has to be telling herself this is going great. They don't know anything. And he's kind of watching that along or walking that along, but I would be laughing hysterically. This is why I wouldn't be a cop. I mean, 11 trillion 37 and 3, reason why I am not a police officer.
Yeah, it would be hard to some of these people that we have watched interrogations for, like it would be extraordinarily difficult to keep a straight face.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't do it. I'd be like, "Could we just cut the BS? Look, we have your DNA. I'm done. I would like to go back to doing file work,
Yeah.
and your face scares me, and those Manson lamps, holy crap, I don't know how you weren't collared years ago."
Yeah. Plus we have a fire department we need to look into.
Yeah. We finally figured out why, Firehouse 9 burned to the ground. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
The entire crew quit suddenly. No reason given.
Yeah, but for some reason they kept having to have like the doctor come out and give them all like antibiotics for some reason.
Look, we could only allocate one police girlfriend for every firehouse. You guys got Stephanie. I'm sorry. This is what happens. There were budget cuts.
I mean, I could have been working in Hollywood, it sounds like, if that's where I was working. So I could have said, okay, well, and I went and talked to her, and just said, hey, you know what? If he's dating you, he's keeps calling me. Why don't you tell him to knock it off or whatever? And because I probably would have told him to knock it off.
You would have told John.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I would have said, hey, and again.
But you wanted to tell her too. You wanted them both to know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting called, and I'm faintly remembering when Scott moved in with me in 1993, sometime in '93, because I met Scott in.
I met her at the IHOP and it was down. I was gonna pull her. I put my hair up. I took my earrings out, and it was on. Now, if people think that was just a little rough, it was Waffle House. In my defense, that's
True.
just how we roll.
And it's like wrestling rules in the Waffle House. No holds barred.
Well, again, she has these wild public confrontations with this woman, with Sherry. She has, to the point where her partner was like, hey, we need to go. You're, simmer down.
Yeah.
And now she's like, evidence of me meeting her.
It's like,
Nope,
I don't remember this. Like
I have to look at my pictures.
Yeah.
In April of '92, I was teaching DARE up in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And he moved down. In fact, he may have moved down in '92. 92 or 93. There was a big earthquake. No, when was the big earthquake? No, 94.
94, yeah.
So I think Scott might have moved into '93, sometime in '93. Excuse me. I haven't had my breakfast yet. And so, excuse me.
Because the house was a shaking, baby.
I faintly recall that John.
Oh yes, we've reached the part of the interrogation where her guts decide that they see a sinking ship and they are going to try to leave the building. So she will be convulsively burping throughout the rest of this. I mean, I don't know what's happening other than her digestive system is like, this ship is sinking. We are not going to be Jack this time. We are getting on that MFing door. We're not letting that heifer on.
Looking for the quickest escape route.
Yes.
Fortunately for those cops, it was up and not down.
True. Oh my God. It could have been silent but deadly.
Oh my God. It reminds me, I'll have to send you. I remember seeing an interrogation once of a lady who would not stop ripping ass in the interrogation. She did something horrific. I mean, like literally horrific what she did. But it was so funny because she just kept ripping ass.
Damn it. God. Yeah, it
called a few times. And I'm like, hey, he goes, look, can you talk or something? I'm like, no, I can't talk. I've got, I'm living with somebody.
Right.
And that
Like
could have been
she
a few
ever
times.
told
It could have been
John
once,
no.
could have been twice, could have been 3 times. Yeah, I don't know,
And that's during the period of time of the earthquake that you're.
Well, no, probably after Scott moved in. I think I met Scott in April of '92.
Oh, okay, right before.
April of '92, because I stopped teaching DARE.
Okay, I figured out what's wrong with California. Early 80s. A bunch of kids were exposed to this woman telling them to stay off of effing drugs.
True. Well,
Now,
actually, it was, I think she said she did DARE in Oregon, to be fair, where everything's legalized now.
I understand. They had to do drugs to deal with having to be in close proximity with Stephanie. Stephanie Lazarus is the problem. She is the reason that everything failed in California. Gavin Newsom, you're off the hook.
Oh, I'm going to send you this interrogation. In Discord.
Oh my goodness. She just doesn't have good paws. She just never does.
I think I stopped teaching deer sometime in '92.
Mhm.
And when you say that you may have, that you talked to his wife, said, hey, or I don't know if it was, I guess it wasn't his wife at that time, girlfriend or whatever, and
Yeah,
said,
I don't know if it was his wife or his girl.
Right.
I mean, quite
when-
honestly, I don't even remember.
when you said like, hey, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you. I mean, was that civil? Was there? I mean,
Oh yeah, no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. It was.
Oh yeah,
The conversation lasted
no one was scared and
a
screaming
few
world
minutes. I
star.
can't even remember. And what is it like? We went out to lunch or anything.
Right, but there was no
But-
like arguments or
I
fights
don't
or
think
it didn't
so.
get heated or anything like
Not
that.
that I recall. No, I mean,
Would-
I would think that would stand out. I would think. Now again, that's not standing out in my mind.
Okay, at this point, what does stand out in your mind? Because you don't remember like earthquakes, you don't remember when you met your husband, you're vague about when you went to Hawaii, you're not quite sure where you worked, you have to look at photos. I mean, what are you aware of?
I'm gonna go with not much, because she can't seem to remember anything that's like relevant or important to prove her innocence.
It's a good thing she works in a job where she doesn't need to notice relevant things or
Yes.
notice stuff. I mean, I feel confident that she was part of our national security matrix.
Yes, and correction, not prove her innocence, give an alibi, or at least some signal that doesn't scream, "I'm guilty as sin, please arrest me."
Yeah, I mean, all she needs is the whole, neon sign behind her. It's me,
Yeah, with a big arrow.
bro. Yeah. And this face might be it. I mean, honestly, the faces in here are gold.
So you didn't have any problems with her then?
No.
You didn't have any issues with her?
No, I mean.
But let me ask you. It seems like you didn't have any issue. Now, did she have an issue with you as far as because now you're telling her, hey, tell them to stop calling. Now, she's like, you figure she'd be threatened by you.
I don't know. I mean.
From what you remember, as far as when you talked to her, maybe
I was beautiful, magnificent, majestic.
But maybe did she?
Most people
are. I mean, like throwing things at me or something, or
well, no, just as far as you're trying to explain, like, hey, have them stop calling me. Stop playing games.
I tell you, if the conversation, I couldn't even tell you how long the conversation. If you said, did it last a half an hour? Did it last 3 minutes? Did it last 20 minutes? I can't even remember. It's been so long ago.
You just remember talking to her, telling her.
Yeah, and that's why you said how many times you talked to her. I don't know how many times I talked to her. Maybe it was once, maybe it was twice, maybe it was 3 times.
Okay.
No,
she is the type to, as soon as if she talked to John, she would get off that phone and call Sherry to say, I just got off the phone with your husband. I guess he doesn't really care too much if he's on the phone with me instead of talking to you, and then hang up. Look, she was cray enough to have done that every time. Like, she would probably call John just to chit chat. John doesn't know this, so he comes home. Sherry's like, tell her to stop this. This needs to stop. You need to stop talking to her. John refuses to, put his wife first, continues to talk to Stephanie, to meet her for lunches, things like that. So in Stephanie's mind, she still has a chance. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, technically, somebody was meeting her for lunch.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Right.
I don't know what year it was. If he said I met her in such and such year, I'd go, okay, well, I don't even know what year you met her. I graduated from UCLA in 1982. Okay, I graduated in 82. Like I said, I don't know if he graduated. I know he was
Damn it, we're back to
older than I was, so I don't know if he graduated a year before, 2 years before, because people are on different, either on the 4-year program or the 5-year program.
Mm-hmm. What year did you come on the job?
83.
Oh, so almost pretty much immediately after you got out of school?
Yeah, I worked at a law firm for a year.
Oh,
um,
holy crap.
and then
That's
came on the
scary.
job. But anyway, in regards to seeing him, not seeing
Wait,
him,
you worked at a law firm and you don't remember the Greatest Amendment, the Fifth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is working out well for her. She went to the
Yeah.
B. Ivory Lamar School of lawyer stuff.
Yeah. Maybe she wasn't a great student. I mean, clearly.
Yeah,
She was learning other things.
true. You know, destroying evidence, taking out romantic rivals. It was an entire firehouse. I mean, it was a busy couple years there. Possibly twins. I mean, she
Yeah.
was very busy doing her Jane Fonda workouts too. I mean, hat tip to you, ma'am. You are multitasking with the best of us.
Not just twins, but if I remember right, one of them was a firefighter and the other was a cop.
Yeah, and
So,
then the firefighter became a cop too.
yeah.
So
So,
does she turn firefighters into cops? Is that how recruitment worked back then?
apparently.
She was the original T virus. Like, she just converted them all.
I understand that reference too.
I know, and I made a reference correctly. It's a rare
Yeah.
miracle. Write it down on your calendars, you guys. Take a picture, take a screenshot.
Yes, and add it to your 10,000 other pictures.
we went to friends' weddings that were, you know, from UCLA. I may have gone to some of his friends' weddings from where he worked. He may have gone to things with me. Um, I mean, I don't know how many times we went to do things, or didn't do things.
Right.
Like I said, his sister. Um, I know his sister, his brother, his sister. I know stayed at my townhouse a number of times. I couldn't tell you how many times.
I
Right.
only have 85
Um,
pictures of her
I would
asleep.
watch his brother.
Game.
I should take pictures at a basketball game or two
Where was your townhouse at?
in Granada Hills, below the Odyssey.
I don't know the
Um,
valley.
oh, I'm sorry. The 405 and the 5. The 405. The 405 turns into 5 to 118. They came down in the earthquake.
Okay.
So
Okay. And you're saying when you went to see her, do you remember if it was at her house or
Thanks for joining,
at
Crazy
the place
Warlock.
she worked at?
no, I'm thinking that it was probably, for some reason, I want to say that the hospital seemed that, if you say he got married in 85 or something, I'm thinking that, maybe the hospital was on my way to work in Hollywood. I mean, that's kind of sounding familiar. Um,
Would you have gone on duty?
no, I'm sure I wouldn't have.
No.
No, I'm pretty good about not doing stuff. I mean, no, I'm not saying that, you haven't done stuff on duty, but I would have,
Like
I mean, I would have
work.
been working with somebody,
Okay.
so I wouldn't think. I mean, I try to avoid doing stuff on duty.
No.
So,
So you would have gone, if it was en route to work, you more than likely you would have gone to her work and had this discussion with her?
I mean, that's sounding familiar. I mean, that's, now that you guys are bringing this stuff up, I mean, that sounds familiar. But again, I mean, what's this got to do with me dating him and, her getting killed? I mean, I don't, I don't think
Let me
anything to do with it. And
ask that.
you got something that somebody said, whatever. I mean,
Well, like we said, we just literally got this the other day, and you're going through it,
yeah.
and you
And
see
you saw me say,
your
oh, it's
name.
Nick's next door.
Right. And so, I mean, obviously it's like we recognize the name and we know that, you work
Yeah.
next door to us. And so we're trying to get some background. We're trying to figure this out. I mean, this is from a long time ago.
Oh, I know. And that's what I said.
and things have been kind of slow for us. And so, Chief Beck has said, hey, I want you guys working. I don't want you just sitting around reading the paper.
Yeah.
So he's kind
Wait a
of pushing
minute.
some older cases out even.
You're telling me LA has a dearth of murders? He's like, it was a slow period. We the week right after Labor Day and leap year, it happens. We only had 15, so, you know.
I mean, that is an excellent question. Because I would be asking that too. Because it's like, aren't there quite a few there? I mean,
I am not sure. I'll have to look into that. I wonder if I will have to pace myself and say I will look into it. It's on my list of sticky note to-do lists, but I am buckling down on my schedule as far as the channels, so it may take a bit. And these are the last weeks of summer vacation where everyone has irritated the ever living shit out of each other, cannot be in the same room without fighting, and but also don't want to go to school. So it's going to be a couple 2 weeks.
um, some people did, because the question was about people testifying in her case. Or if she testified. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I
Yeah,
don't think that she testified, but John testified. A retired
yeah.
LAPD officer testified. John's sister testified. Trying to see who else actually did. But so far, that's what I have.
Yeah, I think the DNA was kind of open and shut, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, it really is kind of a miracle that they managed to find it after all of the shenanigans the evidence went through and that kind of stuff. But speaking of it being summer and the children losing their daggone minds, I'm going to have to go referee a looks like a WWE wrestling match on the trampoline, and yeah.
well, well, you have fun doing that.
You know, I'm just like, we built them, Mr. Mo. We tore down this entire upstairs to give them each individual room. So if they were annoyed with each other, they could go to separate rooms. It was a hope. It was a dream. It was a shiny idea. And what they do when they annoy each other is sit there and not touch each. I'm not touching you. I'm not.
The usual kid thing.
Yes.
But
Yes.
wait, did you say that they go to school um, in a few weeks?
On the 6th.
When did kids start going back to school at the beginning of August?
When they do a balanced schedule, so they have a shorter summer, only 2 months of summer, but then they get a longer fall break. So you would get like 2 weeks for fall break and 2 weeks for spring break and Christmas.
Oh, because I asked because somebody else said that their kids go back to school like in a few weeks too, and I was like, wait a second,
Yeah,
when did
it
kids
also
start going
depends
back
on
to
the
school so
area
early?
because some schools get out much later or earlier. It's really weird. But I'm going to go make sure no one goes to the ER. You know, 80s moms, you just lock the door. You told them to come back around when the lights were coming on, and I don't know what you did with all that time, but I want to be you. Thank you guys for coming. I hope you had a good time, and we will see you next week.
See ya.
Oh, where is it? I've got too many doodads.
Oh.